welcome to our 30-minute stretch on Thursday. This is
Charlotte.
this is Grace from Freefall Dance. We've been doing the 30-minute stretches live on Facebook and Instagram for the last 10 weeks.
Yeah.
And we decided to now put them on YouTube every Thursday. So this is our little gift from you, us to you, you to us, us to you. And today we thought we'd focus on, for anyone who wanted to, some exercises to help with completing the splits. If you have no desire whatsoever to do the splits, they're also quite good hip and hamstring exercises, stretches. So don't worry if you're like, but I don't.
I do not want to do the splits. No fear, you don't have to.
Absolutely. And as always, please look after your bodies. It's not suitable for anyone with any injuries. If you're unsure, please consult your doctor or physiotherapist before you start. And please take responsibility for your own body and stop if you need to. Yeah, I think that's about it.
Yeah?
Should we get going?
Let's do it.
30 minutes. Here
Anything we need?
Oh,
Cushion?
yeah.
Optional cushion.
For the end stretch.
For the end stretch, if you would like one. Let's go!
I'll pass you to Shasha to start you off.
Cool, okay, let's just do a little bit of warming up through the hips and through the legs to start off with. So just give your wrists a roll round for a second. Let's warm up through the hips and the wrists. Give your wrists a roll round just to start before we put a little bit of weight on them. To start with, just warming up through the wrists. Then we're going to come into our little 4-point kneeling position and then just take some little folds forward and back through the hips.
Ooh. Hello.
Just to start warming up through the front and the back of the hips. Twice more. Last one, and then gently hold it here for a second. Stretching. A little stretch through the upper back, lower back as well. Take a nice deep breath in, breathing out, coming back up through into your 4-point kneeling position. Nice and strong. Ooh. To start with, and we're going to take a little couple of wags, tail wags with the bum and with the hips. So I'm going to take a deep breath in and then breathing out, I'm going to send my hips and my head towards each other, working through the lower back, through the pelvis. It's actually nice for the hip flexors as well. Just gently moving through that stretch side to side. Keep breathing nice and evenly. Try and relax your belly so you're not holding too tight and you can really stretch through the sides. One more on each side. Nice, and then just take the weight off the wrists for a second, give them a little shake, a little roll round before we come back for a couple more things. Here, so we're just going to take a little cat stretch before we go into our disco cats. So take a nice deep breath in, breathing out. We're going to tuck the tailbone slightly underneath, arch through, looking towards your belly button, and then back through to centre, over to the other direction. Little arch through the spine, chest up, and again breathing in, breathing out. Finding a nice arch, little tuck through the pelvis. One more. Opening through the chest, pressing down through the hands, through the shoulders. Back through to centre, and then we're going to combine the two. So we've got a combination of side to side and up and down. We're going to go for our disco cats. So we go all the way through, rolling through, making little circles. So you're going through your arch and through your tuck, warming up all the way. Music. Great. And then reversing the circle. 4 on this side. 2 more. Last one. Back to centre and then folding back into those hips. Rolling up, coming off those wrists, give them a little roll round. And then I will pass you over to Grace for the next little section.
Crawling on. All right, so we're going to sit in a like a zigzag position. So we're going to bring one foot leg forwards in a sort of triangle position and the other leg back. And then from here, all we're going to do is just a little warm up through the hip, nice and gentle. You can lean back here and then, actually it's probably best to sit upright. Little rock forwards and back. So if I do it with this leg first. So just take one leg, little rock forwards and sink back. Nice and easy through the top of the hip joint. Try not to force anything, but just try and think about trying to sit your bum down into the floor each time. So rotating right from the top of the hip joint and pressing down. Let's just do this a few more times. Nice generous movement through the thigh, through the hip, really dropping that or extending through that side of the waist as you come down towards the floor. Good. And then from here, we've got the front leg forwards, so we're going to keep that there and try and find your 90-degree position here, parallel to your body. We're going to lean forwards, lift the pelvis, and then slide that back leg behind you. Now this back leg needs to be square or parallel to the floor, to the mat. Also, your hips need to be square as well. So if that means you're quite high up, that's absolutely fine. You can pop a cushion underneath your pelvis if that helps you. Just try, especially if it's training in splits, it's quite good to do it like this rather than cheating and going to the side. So really try and think about that front leg in 90 degrees, she says, not being able to hold it. I'm practicing too. And then sliding my back knee away, and you can just stay upright, trying to connect your bum down onto the floor of the front leg you're stretching. Nice deep breaths in and out. Now if you're ultra flexible or feel that this is quite easy, just saying here, you can walk your hands down and forwards, and you can rest your head on your hands if you wish. And we're just going to keep breathing as we stay here. Nice deep breath into that bum cheek that you're stretching right into the hips, and really keep being aware of this hip lifting. So you really want to keep sending it down. I always like to think of car lights, headlights on your hip bones, and you want to shine them down towards the floor. And then take another deep breath in, and as you breathe out, walk your hands up if you're not already there. Same arm as your back leg. We're going to bend this back leg, we're going to circle, and we're going to clasp the inside of your foot or the outside, whichever feels more comfortable for you. And you can slide that knee back and away. When you look around, make sure that back leg isn't going out on a diagonal. You want to take it directly behind you, so your legs are, knees are in line with your hip. Keep breathing and keep dropping that pelvis down and in between. If a little bit more information, if you can get some more information to your head, so it's quite a lot going on here. Gently press the foot into your hand and the hand back into your foot, and lengthen the hip down towards the mat. Take one more deep breath in, sinking that pelvis a bit further, and as you breathe out, gently release the leg. We're going to do the same leg once more, but this time we're going to go with the opposite arm. If you're still in pigeon, just stay in pigeon, that's absolutely fine. Bend through the back leg, circle the arm, the opposite, and then again sinking that pelvis down. Look at my foot just creeping back to my hip.
It's like, no.
It doesn't want to stay 90 degrees. Keep keeping those hips square. Take one more deep breath in. And as you breathe out, gently release the back leg. Sink towards the hip just to roll out of it. And we're just going to do that all on the other side. So, change over sides. I'm just going to rock that hip forwards and backwards. Just connecting and warming up through the hip joint here. Nice and easy. I feel it more in my lower back on this side. It's really sending your bum down into the floor each time. This is just a little reminder for your body to do this as we're in our pigeon stretch. Good, and then we're just going to keep this front leg forwards, lift yourself up, and then lengthen that back leg in parallel hip distance. Slide that back leg away and trying to keep this front leg in 90 degrees as much as possible. hip bones facing or pointing in parallel, drawing towards the floor. I'm really thinking about that length through that hip, the front of the hip of the leg that's back. That's quite complex. Front of the hip of the leg that's back. And just sinking your weight down here, thinking about splitting those legs, one forwards, one back. Find that length. And either staying here, or you can come onto your elbows or onto your hands, wherever you feel that's most comfortable for you today. If you're onto your hands, try not to arch through the back. Really think about lengthening it and sending the pelvis down. Oh, that's a good one. Just take one more deep breath in and out here, and then walk your hands back up. Bending through the back leg, same arm as your back leg, circles, clasp hold of your foot, either the inside or the outside, wherever you feel comfortable, and you can rotate through the spine. As you do this, really slide that back knee away. Those of you who've got available to you today, you can try and get that foot to your elbow crease. Oh, just. Yeah, I might stick with my hand. As long as that doesn't compromise that positioning of the hips. Because we are prepping for the front splits. We didn't even say that, did we?
No,
We're doing
splits.
Front splits. I think you probably would have worked that out by now. Good. And then just gently release the leg. Come back. Now it's the same thing but with the opposite arm. Bending through the back leg. Circle the opposite arm. Clasping. Opening the chest. Sinking that pelvis down, sending the back knee away, and the front bum, down towards the floor. Just take one more deep breath in, and then release the arm and the leg. I'm going to sink back onto your bum, give those knees a nice little wiggle, and then I'll pass you on to Shasha for the next little bit. I'll crawl off.
Crawl in.
And crawl in.
Okay. We're going to come into a little lunge sequence now. So carrying straight on from where we have just come from. Taking one leg in front of you. I'm going to tuck the back toes of the leg behind me and send myself into a nice long lunge. Spine nice and long. And all I'm going to do to start with is just plant my hands into the floor or fingertips, whichever you need. And then I'm just going to lift gently through that back leg and lower, and lift, and lower. And then on the third one, really plant those toes down into the floor, sending the heel away, long lunge. And I'm going to lift up and drop my pelvis to find a nice long lunge. Trying to square off those hips, so like Grace just said, keeping this hip forwards, so you're trying not to open through the hips. Make sure you're not sending yourself too far over this front knee, so you're really working down, your weight is down into the floor. If this feels okay, you can send the same arm as back leg up, long and away, and find a nice long stretch through the front of the body. Holding here.
Got a short arm.
Disappearing.
They get the picture.
You get it. It's up there. One more breath here. And then breathing out, dropping the hands down into the floor. I'm going to untuck that back foot, walk that front foot out slightly, and then bring myself down into a nice lizard lunge towards the floor. I'm sending my back leg even further away and dropping down into the hips, into the front joint here. Front joint. Front joint. Front bum.
You are then.
Try not to arch. I'm arching quite a lot. You might have to come up onto your hands if you feel like this is just not okay. Nice deep breaths in and out. One more breath in. And then on the out breath, I'm going to take myself back up onto my hands. One last little thing here. I'm going to plant my right hand, the same arm as front leg, into the floor, and I'm just going to open out through the front of the body, sending this hip down into the floor, opening out through the pelvis. And you can use this arm to push into this leg to open you out a little bit more. And coming back through to centre. From here, I'm going to tuck that back leg and I'm going to send myself up into a nice long triangle position, hinging over those legs, trying to square off those hips again so you're really working into a parallel position, both legs and hips facing the same way. From here, taking a breath in, and on the out breath we're going to hinge forward, trying to keep the knees nice and soft, especially if you hyperextend in the knees. Keep them nice and soft, drop the head and just relaxing over that front leg. Either staying here, and if you want you can take a little flex through that front foot. I'm going to do a couple of flex and lowers. Nice and gentle. One more. Then taking a breath in on the out breath, see if you can fold a little bit further. And then releasing to change over legs, to do all of that on the other side. Give them a little shape as you go. So coming into your lunge to start with. Coming into a nice long lunge, tucking the back toes into the floor, squaring off those hips, doing a couple of little knee drops to start with, just to really work into that hip, work into opening through the hip joints, through the fronts of the legs. 2 more. And then planting those toes into the floor, spreading the toes, sending the heel away. Long leg, take a nice deep breath in. On the out breath we're going to come up into a nice deep lunge, sending that pelvis down into the floor, squaring off through the hips. I find this really intense. This is like someone else. Keep thinking about pressing that heel away. Woo! And then if you want, opening through the arm. Keep breathing into that stretch. And then releasing, untucking that toe, slightly shifting that leg out to the side, taking a breath in, and then on the out breath coming down into your lizard. Oh, that looks really weird. Your lizard stretch. Thinking about sending that leg away and really still trying to square off those hips. So you're really working into the parallels of your hips and your muscles. Keep breathing here. This side's way tighter for me. And keep thinking about lengthening through the back leg, so you're still trying to send length out through those toes. One more breath in here. And then on the out breath, coming up onto your hand, planting the same hand as front leg into the floor. And then if you want to, opening out, finding a rotation to open through the hips and the front of the body. Opening through the chest. Finding length here. And then breathing out, coming back through to center. Tucking that back toe underneath. Finding your nice long triangle position. Squaring off through the hips. And then breathing in, breathing out to hinge forward and fold over those legs. Keeping the knees nice and soft, juicy knees. Make sure your jaw, your head is nice and relaxed. And then if you want, you can take a couple of little mini flexes. Nice and gentle. With the front foot. Check in with your hips, make sure they're not creeping to the side. Nice and relaxed through the shoulders, through the toes. And then taking a nice deep breath in, breathing out, see if you can hinge forward and fold a little bit further over those legs. One more time. Breathing out to bend through the knees. Coming off those legs, I'm going to semi-moonwalk out of frame.
I'll come in. So you've just come down from your triangle, whichever leg. We're going to bend through that back leg and you're going to send your bum towards that heel. You can sit sitting on it if that feels okay for you. Now, keep, again, squaring those hips. We're going to say it so many times. Squaring those hips off. You can either flex the foot here or just relax it. If you want a little bit more of a deeper stretch, flex the foot. We're going to lengthen up, and then we're going to gently walk our hands as far forwards as you feel comfortable. And we're just thinking about length through the crown of your head, sending your tailbone away, and to try and really get this stretch down the hamstring, you can really think about tilting the pelvis. So imagine you have a tail and you're trying to send the tail to the floor behind you, towards the back of your mat, and that should just find a little bit more length through the front of that leg. We're going to breathe here and just hold here. Those of you who want to, you can really send that chest down towards your thigh, but think about lengthening forwards rather than arching over the top. It's like sending your belly button towards your thigh. Just take a lovely deep breath in, checking that this front leg hasn't turned out. Keep it parallel. And on the next out breath, you're going to gently send the weight forwards to come out of it, but stay on the same leg, because all we're going to do now is this back knee is going to go out to the side and you're going to sink back. So if I show you from the front, you're in this sort of position here. So this back knee, you can send it as far away from you as possible. So you get a nice opening through this hip. This is a nice little hip stretch. So send it away, the front leg's completely forwards, hips square. Lengthen up again through the chest, flex the front foot, leg parallel or in line with your hip. Lovely deep breath in, and as you breathe out, walking the hands forwards if you wish. Oh, hello. Trying not to lift the bum of the leg that you're bending. Try and get both bum cheeks down into the floor. Again, think about drawing the belly button forwards and the tailbone backwards. We call this the wonky flamingo. We like naming our stretches, don't we?
Yeah.
There's some brilliant ones coming up. Just take one more deep breath in here. And as you breathe out, coming all the way back up. And let's do that all on the other side. So swing the legs around. And the first one is the knee, heel. I always call this the knee. Heel underneath your bum. Other leg, flex it or relax it. If you've got quite hypermobile knees, you may want to prop this leg up with a cushion. Lengthening up and then walking the hands forwards, sending that tailbone away, chest long, crown of the head away. And just pausing here, breathing into this lovely stretch. And really thinking about playing with tilting the pelvis forwards, the top of the pelvis forwards, the bottom back. You reach those toes to the ceiling. Take one more lovely deep breath in. And as you breathe out, gently send your weight to the long leg side. Unfold this leg and send your bum down into the floor. Try and open that knee as far out to the side as you can, maintain both hips onto the floor, hips square. This front leg is up and forwards. Flex the foot. Take a lovely deep breath in as you lengthen, and as you breathe out, walking the hands forwards. Trying to connect that bum cheek down into the floor and lengthen the spine. Keep flexing the foot up towards the ceiling. And we're going to hold it here for another couple of deep breaths. We're nearly there. We've only got a few more stretches to go. Think about the chest lengthening forwards and down. See on the next out breath where you can go a little further. Take a lovely deep breath in. And as you breathe out, walking all the way back up. Rolling to the long leg side. Swing the legs round, and I'll pass you back to Shasha for one more stretch before we go into the end. I'm not going to say what it is.
Cool, so we're going to go into, we call this Quad King. This is a nice one for inner quad and front of the quad. I find you might find something else from it. So we're going to come onto our onto our backs, and we are going to tuck I'm going to tuck my right leg underneath, and I'm aiming to hold onto my opposite arm to foot, and I'm tucking it underneath myself and opening the front of the hip up to the ceiling. Yeah. From here, I'm going to bring the knee in of my other leg and my other hand. It takes a bit of working out, but you'll be alright. It's like a pretzel. Comes in and you pull your other leg in towards you. And I'm really opening through the front of that hip and through the quad. And I'm pulling both my knee in and my knee down on my other leg. Hopefully that makes sense. Taking a nice deep breath in, breathing out, really holding that knee in towards the chest. Trying to open through the hips and send that knee down towards the floor. Ooh, clicky toe. And you can take a little release with that knee and then gently pull it back in. I can really feel it in my opposite quad. King quad. One more. Hello. And then on the next one, releasing the hand of the underneath side. And I'm going to pop that foot onto the floor and we're going to come into a little lying hamstring stretch. So I'm going to send my leg long and away. My head and shoulders come off the floor slightly to start with, and then I'm going to relax them down. You can keep your second leg planting down into the floor, or you can send it long and away. Let's go long, if you can. If you can bring your hand up to your calf, great. If not, just bring it under your thigh, or grab a jumper or something to hook over your foot to help you. And then I'm just going to send my shoulders down into the floor and gently bring that leg in towards me whilst lengthening through the bottom leg.
That's a hard one.
This is the one. Trying to square off that hip. So like all the work we were doing earlier with squaring off that hip, this leg tends to want to roll out. So really trying to bring that foot into parallel, bring that leg into parallel, open through those legs. And you can gently flex and point through that top foot if you want to. One more deep breath in here. Breathing out, bringing it down. Give it a little shake. Let's go over to the other side. So tucking that leg we've just stretched up underneath to find the hand and foot, and then lengthening down, trying to lengthen that knee towards the floor, switching off the bum. I'm going to equal out my hips and then gently pull that knee in towards my chest, trying to keep my shoulder blades on the floor. Chin, head, jaws nice and relaxed. And you're gently pulling that knee in towards you, keeping those legs, this leg in parallel, top leg in parallel. Trying to send this knee down towards the floor as much as possible. Oh. And then gently releasing and pulling that knee in towards your chest. Keep breathing nice and evenly. Two more here. And then just hold it for a second on the last one. Opening through the hips, through the quads. And then releasing that underneath side. Planting it into the floor, sending the other leg long and away. Interlocking those hands behind the leg, and then gently, if you feel comfortable, lengthening through that leg. Sinking the shoulder blades down, relaxing through the back. And then opening through those hips. Keep the knees soft. Whew. And then if you want to, gently flexing and pointing through that top foot. Keep breathing into the hamstrings, send them some love. Couple more. And then releasing down. Shake those legs out. Give yourself a pat, and then ready for our final little thing.
Yes, so final, all the moment we've been waiting for. I'm going to take a couple of cushions because I need practice for my splits. We're just going to gently, so if you want to have a bit of support in your pelvis, grab a couple of cushions, maybe a few, it's up to you. And we're going to just gently work into a full split. So just to finish with today, please don't force anything. If it doesn't feel like you want to do it today, absolutely fine. Just go as far as you feel comfortable. So starting with a little lunge like we did earlier with Charlotte, and we're just going to gently send that pelvis forwards and then hinge it back. And again, we're going to send the pelvis forwards, keeping the hips nice and square. And then the next time you bring it forwards, just slide your knee back slightly. I've got a lovely slidey mat which allows that to happen. Now when I get to this position, this may be enough for you. So you've got a slight angle on your front leg. If it is, stay here and then gently rock to the side to come out. Or if you'd like a bit of support, like me, I'm going to pop some cushions underneath my pelvis, square off my hips, and then I'm going to gently creep that front leg forwards and send it down in towards the floor. Now when we get there, or into the hips, into the cushions even, try and square the hips. So what's a common thing which I love to do is sit back and open this back hip. So try and stay nice and lifted. If you've got short arms like me, can you grab me some books? You can, because I'm not completely flat on the floor and it's quite a lot of my fingers, as you can see I'm hunching a little bit. You can grab some books to pop either side. Oh, thank you, my very kind assistant.
Is that done?
I don't know. Yes. Well, for one side. That'll do. You get the idea. And you can prop yourself up. I've got really short arms, so I'm finding this here. Squaring the hips, lengthening up. Now make sure this front leg is now in parallel. So again, I have a tendency of turning out. Sitting up nice and tall as we breathe in and out. Make sure that back leg, if you have a little glance over, isn't turning out as well. I'm doing the best I can. One more deep breath in, everyone. And as you breathe out, we're going to lean towards your bum that's on the floor. We're going to gently come out onto the pile of books behind you and onto the cushions. Isn't that graceful? And then just have a moment to close the hips in. Give them a nice wiggle. And we're going to do that all on the other side. So, let's go. Starting in that lunge that we did earlier, Charlotte, we're going to go forwards and then send the bum back. And again, little forwards and send the bum back. Good. Now, from here, because you come forwards this time, slide the knee away, the back knee away, as far away as you feel comfortable. Remember, it will be different on this side. It might be, maybe not. And just finding that position of the leg where you feel most comfortable to stay in for a second. If you would like a bit more support, maybe you don't and you're very used to splits, just go on down. If not, pop the cushions. Don't put your books too far away from you. Thank you, Charlotte. This is for my arms to rest on. And then you're going to just wiggle those fingers, crawl, inchworm those legs away, sending the back leg away, and then trying to sit up as much as you can as you square the hips as best you can. Really prop yourself up onto a pile of books if you need to, or hands on the floor. Square through the hips, and then the back leg. I love turning out my back leg. So just be conscious of what's going on. Front leg in parallel. Again, making sure those hips are trying to draw forwards as much as possible. I'm starting to sweat here, Charlotte. Opening through the chest. I pulled the short straw about doing this one.
Splits is hardcore.
It is hardcore. If you're here, flipping well done. If you're nearly here, flipping well done. Really nice work. Let's just take one more deep breath in. As you breathe out, relax a little further into it. One more breath in. And as you breathe out, gently start leaning towards your bum. Back leg swings around to come onto your knees. And Bob's your uncle. Well done, everyone. We hope you enjoyed. Oh, look, very apt. Dance. I talk about dance. We hope you enjoyed that 30 minutes. And yeah.
Look after your body. Practice. Practice makes perfect. Don't stress if you feel like you're struggling. Takes practice. So
keep at
yeah.
it.
You've
Little
got
bit a
this.
day.
Yeah.
We'll be back soon next week for another one. Hope you enjoyed it, and see you soon.
See you soon.
Bye.